Hi, this is Carol from Glass Art Diva. Today we're going to begin foiling our piece. In the previous video, I discussed the types of foil that are available and the use for each one. Today we're going to use a combination of black back foil, copper back foil, 1/4 inch foil, and 7/32. My preference has always been to use 1/4 inch black back foil. I like the look of the bolder lines. But in some cases, it's not feasible. As an example, I previously foiled these holly leaves. This using 7/32 black back foil. This is black back foil, but it is 1/4 inch. The foil takes more of the glass. It will give you a bolder line, but I feel that with the holly, you will need a more delicate line. It will be more aesthetically pleasing. The other issue is that the holly has a lot of curves in it. And when you use a wider foil, these curves where you foil may split. As an example, here and here. I will address how to correct that in another video. So we begin by taking a piece, and in this particular case, I'm going to use the copper back 1/4 inch. The reason I've decided to use that is because with the copper backing, it's a little bit cheaper. You're not going to see the backing on the foil because the glass is opalescent. You cannot see through it. When you begin your foiling, always ensure that where you start to foil is going to back up against another piece of glass. Should you start foiling out here somewhere, that's a weak point, and at some point it may give. Where if you begin your foil where it's going to touch another piece of glass, and again on this piece too, you're going to foil it where it touches another piece of glass. You solder those joins where the foil joins and you get a stronger piece. So we begin on the inside. I place the foil so that it is more or less halfway on the piece of glass, like so. And I slowly start working away at surrounding the piece of glass with your foil. Now I only take about 2 inches at a time, because if I have to reposition the foil, I can easily just pull it back a little bit and reposition it where I need it to be. Don't do this a lot in one spot because it will remove the adhesive that's on the back of your foil. Continue going around all the way through your piece until you get to the end. Every now and then I find if I just kind of run my finger along the edge of the glass, it will hold the foil in a little bit more snugly than until I'm ready to begin burnishing it, like so. Now I only have gone about 1/4 inch past where I started. I'll snip it, smooth it down, and then I'll just take my fingers and I'll smooth the rest of it down. Now I'll go ahead and I'll start pinching the corners of the foil onto the glass. When I go around a curve, I take my fingers as such and very gently start working the foil down into place so that I don't end up with cracks in the foil. When I get to the corners, it's important that they fit snugly. And I lay them down. So now I'm ready to burnish it. Now, when you begin to burnish your foil, you're going to use a fid. There's different kinds of fids that are out there. There's this one that's just flat. This is kind of a pencil shape. This one's from Glass Star. And this is a wooden dowel-like affair that I picked up, which, as you can tell, it's been one of my go-to tools, especially when there's texture on your glass, like there is on the back of this. You want to make sure that when you burnish your burnish your foil down, it's nice and smooth. You want to make it as smooth as possible. Make sure you go over your edges nicely, like so. Then I'll show you how to use the Glass Star. Ensure that this piece here is on the inside and you just roll it along. Again, making sure you got all your corners covered. All the pieces of foil are laying snugly against the glass, like so. Then you would take your fid, whatever one that you're using, and also do the flat side of this glass to make sure that it is laying smoothly also, like so. Lay it down, pick up your next piece. Now this piece, because you see through it, I'm going to the 1/4 inch black back foil. And again, I'm going to ensure that where I start, it's going to be on the, it's going to be touching another piece of glass. Now, I prefer students to start foiling by hand originally before they get into using some of the different foilers that are out there that do make the job a little bit easier. But sometimes it's best to learn the old method first before you get into developing new ideas, new methods, new ways of doing things, and also your own way of doing things. My way is not the only way that's out there. There's all kinds of different methods of creating stained glass, and I urge all my students to watch videos, take lessons from other people, because you never know when you're going to learn something new, something better. I still take classes myself because there's always somebody out there that knows something just a little bit better, a little more than you do. There's a lot of experts out there. And again, we're going to roll this down so that it's nice and flush. Now, when it comes to textured glass, this has a bit of a texture, not as much as the Holly did. And I find that either this tool or this tool is much better for getting your foil to lay smoothly on your glass. And I also like it for going around curves and such, like so. When I'm happy with this piece and I'm ready to lay it down, the other thing that I do is I take a piece of tape, Scotch tape, and I tape it together because I don't want it to move. If you're going to use this method, I strongly suggest that when you lay the tape down, you're going in the same direction as your foil. You don't want to lay your tape across the foil. You want to lay it the lengthwise, because if you get busy or in a hurry and you pull on it too fast, you want to be able just to lift this up without lifting up the foil. Or if you go across like so, you're running the risk of lifting the foil from the glass. So I like to lay it down like this. Now, other people like to take push pins or other pins like so, and they like to hold their pieces together like so. Now I'm going to do a small piece like so, and this is where I will now use the 7/32. Again, I'm going to ensure that where I start my foil, it's going to touch another piece of glass. Now, the reason I'm using 7/32 in this particular piece is because it's a small piece. And I don't want the foil and solder to overwhelm that piece. I want to see some of the glass. So I use a smaller width. As I was talking earlier about texture, this is where this tool comes in handy with texture. You can get a really nice snug fit to your foil using something like this, where using the roller, I find I don't quite get as defined and an adherence as good as when I use something along this line, and I can get in there. There's all different ways you can do this. The real purpose for a fit is to make sure that you burnish your foil against your glass, making sure all the pieces are snugly fitting and there's no gaps, there's no splits, or you're not meeting up properly. So I'll continue on foiling and I'll come back when I'm all done. Thank you for watching.